Hello and welcome to the Binge Thinker episode 35. My name is Jameel Raymond. You should probably know that by now, but it's an absolute pleasure to have you here as always. And you should probably also know that by now. I took a week off last week from the pod because I fucked my bicep up. Did talk about that a couple of weeks ago. Turns out it was a lot worse than I thought, and I had to get my bicep tendon reattached to the bone. So, I had to take the week off and recover, recuperate. There it is there for the people on the interwebs, on the YouTubes. You can see my mad sling, which is not really that interesting, but kind of really fucked myself with the bicep tendon. So to catch everyone up, I heard it about a month ago now, and was just doing pull-ups, nothing cool, just felt a big old pop in my right elbow. Didn't know what it was. It was definitely stinging. And just I thought I could just push through the pain because it's a bit of a tear. It's just a bit of a spray, not a big deal. Turns out, nah. So it swelled up pretty heavily over the last few weeks, definitely in the week after I did it. I did it the weekend of grand final weekend, so that's like September 23rd or something like that. It's been a while. For about a month, no one could really tell me the severity of the injury. I knew that I had ruptured a tendon. I didn't know to the absolute degree because the radiologist that I went to was a fucking idiot and didn't provide any details. And then got an MRI about a week or two ago and found out that, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. So they didn't give me the degree of how bad the rupture was. Then I had to go to see a surgical specialist because tendons don't repair on their own. And I basically had to get surgery ASAP, which thankfully I did. I was able to cut the line a little bit because I was going through private health. And what they had to do was reattach my bicep tendon to my elbow. So what I've done to myself, it's called a distal bicep tendon rupture. And essentially, you've got two bicep tendons in your arm. You've got the main one, which brings your elbow backwards and forwards. And then you've got the tendon that twists your arm left and right, your forearm left and right, right? Like you're being, like you're doing like Bangladeshi or Indian style dancing, right? You're doing that hand flip sort of stuff. Or like spinning a cricket ball. I don't know why they're using that in the first place, but here we go. So that tendon was ruptured, and basically from what the surgeon told me was about 95% ruptured. It was pretty much gone, literally hanging in by a thread. I'm waiting for a catch up on this week with the surgeon to go through my recovery. I want to get the MRI. I'll show you guys. It's pretty gnarly. I did see it, and you could just see it was just like the frayed end of a rope. my fucking bicep tendon with a couple of little sinews that were attached to the MRI. So, it was pretty much fucking gone. What it did was I lost about 50% of my twisting strength, so like trying to open a jar, and I lost about 30 to 40% of my extension strength, so being able to extend my elbow out to create a straight arm. So initially I thought it was just going to be like a muscle tear and I could probably just let it repair after like a month off of training. Turns out, nah, it's pretty fucking bad. I have to go in for proper surgery, and that proper surgery entails of them going into my arm. They do like a 3 or 4 centimeter incision into my elbow, near the crease of the elbow. They have to cut the tendon, the remaining tendon, off the bone because they need to put it all together in one little group of tendons. They then stitch it together. And basically integrate it with this high quality suture, so like a really powerful surgical thread. And essentially what they do is they tie and integrate what I can only describe as like, when you're in a, when you're in a clothes shop and the clothes tags, like just like your basic Kmart clothes tag, it's just that weird T plastic thing that keeps the clothes tag on the clothes. So essentially what they've done is they've used that T tag with my tendon. So they've attached my tendon onto the bottom part of the T. And then what they do is they drill through my forearm bone, my radius bone, and they thread that T through and then pop it out on the other side. And then basically it creates an anchor point on the other side of the bone for the tendon to operate through moving forward. And then it just sort of, that tendon group just sort of slides through that hole very smoothly. And the tendons have to heal and adapt to this new length and to this new neuromuscular process and kinetic extension, basically relearning how to use the tendon and the muscles again for a bit of time. So it's pretty gnarly in some ways that they had to drill a hole through my fucking bone, but also like kind of cool. You can't admit it. I mean, it's going to suck now, and it definitely sucks now, but hey, apparently chicks dig scars, so let's see what happens, huh? So what that means now for me is 6 weeks in a sling. So this is now week 1. And then 12 weeks of rehab in total. So sling off after 6 weeks, and then 6 weeks of, I presume, a fair bit of physio or osteo or whatever it is. Basically trying to get muscular and neurological pathways retrained in my arm. I can't fully extend my elbow. Like the tendons still aren't used to it. They're still healing, so you don't want to over-aggravate them and aggravate. There it is. During this period of time. So I'm slowly just moving my arm in all of the mechanical directions, and then also teaching myself, or sort of extending my elbow and teaching myself to extend my elbow. Overall, like, and I will say that it fucking got me mentally, knowing that I was going to be down for, a period of time, like 6 to 12 weeks. I'm someone that really likes to be active. I keep myself pretty fit nowadays. I'm a bit of a go-getter. That's what this podcast is also about. We'll get into it into a sec. But it fucked me up. Like particularly when I had the realization that I was gonna have to get surgery, and that I was gonna be out for basically 3 months, maybe more. Around Cup weekend, I definitely slipped mentally. I went into just dipped out, wanted to numb out for a bit, all the dumb shit we like to do when shit goes wrong, So I'm definitely a bit of a number. Definitely do a disassociate from shitty situations sometimes when it gets a bit too much. So yeah, just in a bit of a haze over that long weekend, trying to pull myself out of the doldrums a bit. But you gotta take the L and say that, fuck, this really got to me. It's my first major injury. It's not a small injury, right? They had to cut me open and reattach me so I could, have longevity and quality of life, because this shit wasn't going to heal on its own. The surgery was very necessary, and I'm only 32. So I have plenty of good years left physically. So I've got to think about that long term. So then that's what I did to pull myself out of that shit, is to just go, fuck, I am actually, it's 3 months, but on a time scale of 30, 40 years of the rest of my life, that is nothing, right? And that's been a sort of a recurring theme in my life at the moment, is that perspective of cycles and, thinking long term. So I was like, all right, got to get it done. Just resolved myself to getting it done. Thankfully, the powers that be and the private medical health system means I was able to get a consult and an operation the same week. Very grateful for that. And now I'm just part of the healing journey, and it's pretty good. So the healing process is just a fair bit of, like I told you before, maybe you should talk about how it feels. Now, it's not that bad. Like, it doesn't actually hurt that much. It definitely feels tender. I can definitely feel a lot of weakness and a lot of sensitivity in that elbow joint. You can tell that the tendon is like, ooh. So right now, inside the sling, I've got a compression bandage over it. And if I don't have the compression bandage on, it feels very frail. I don't know if it was really big into like understanding why compression helped, but now having this compression bandage on my elbow, I really get it. Because when I take it off to take a shower, I've got a waterproof patch over the stitch marks right now. So I can take a shower, I just don't get it directly wet, I just sort of wash around it. It feels quite frail and sensitive. It definitely feels different. So, hey, 333. There you go. Little insight tip. I put a clip up about synchronicity the other day. You guys should fucking dig that shit as well. Again, distracted. Ugh. God bless Alpha Brain, huh? So it feels tender day to day. I get like tingles in it. So they had to fuck with one of my nerves in the arm as part of the repair. So now the top half of my forearm is numb, and then sometimes it'll just like slowly wake up and tingle. Like, you know, when you've slept in your arm, it feels like that, you know, various parts of the day. But actual pain itself, very little to none. Really little to none. It just feels physically restricted as opposed to hurting. I haven't taken any of the heavier medications they've given me. I stopped taking Panadol Osteo the other day. I've only just been taking the anti-inflammatories I was given. So I've got a whole bunch of oxys just sitting there waiting for someone that's a farmer head to hit me up and go, hey, bro, you got any fucking oxys, bro? You got any fucking oxycon? And maybe I will. No, maybe I won't. But yeah, this is my life for the next 6 to 12 weeks. It's caused me to slow down, which has been definitely a challenge. But I can't help but think in the greater spheres of life and the greater messaging from the powers that be are telling me that this is happening for a reason, that this is putting the brakes on me for a fucking reason. So I sit, and I've had to resolve myself to just sit in it for a bit. I haven't trained physically for a week whilst my arm's been recovering. I just keep finding and pushing that primary driver part of me just keeps coming up in various ways. And then it does definitely suck to have to slow that down because I'm just such a driven, pushy, type A individual. But in this greater cycle of learning in my life where I'm trying to integrate more of the feminine, more of the flow, more of the surrender aspects of my life, and just let things happen to me as opposed to me having to consciously direct my life all the time. There's a lot of benefits to that. And I've certainly come to some big realizations and reflections in the sort of couple of last few weeks that I've had off. And what I've done is here for today's episode, I did want to go through basically a reflection on the last 18 months of my life, because, I never take enough time to really slow down and reflect. And I do, but I don't. What I mean by that is a lot of the growth and the personal development in my life that has come through, particularly for the last 3 years, has come from having space to myself to do nothing, to just sit around and reflect and just let the thoughts and, let the monkey mind dissipate and just let the subconscious or, the greater quantum field let things bubble into my brain about what I've done and where I've been and who I am. And, you use those as tools for self-reflection. I'm increasingly becoming more aware and value the aspect of nothing time and not doing anything. But for a while there, for the last 18 months, I haven't really given myself that time. And it's really reflected in the things that I have done. So look, let's just get into it, because, as you've gotten to know me over the last 6 and a bit months, or, we're heading into November. Yeah. This year, right? You would have caught me in a period of my life where I was heavily in that primary, heavily in that driven aspect of myself, trying to get things done. I got ACN, I've got comedy, I started a new job, but it gets bigger than that. And yeah, it just makes me wonder where just makes me wonder how much I've done. And I can't tell you if this is enough or not enough. It feels like a lot. when I sit back and think about it, it feels like a lot. But then there's always this part of me, again, that driver, that primary, that goes, oh shit, maybe it's not enough because you aren't where you perceive yourself to be at this point in time. And then the other side of my brain comes back and goes, maybe you are exactly where you are meant to be at this point of time in your life. And maybe I'm meant to be talking to you right now as a means to communicate why being exactly where you are at this point in your life is actually the right thing and the right place to be. Let's find out. So, I want to take this back to about 18 months ago, about May or June last year. Right? It's hard to fucking believe that we were only still being locked down a year ago. We were still in the midst of lockdowns and shit going wrong and still being held up. Fucking crazy when you think about how fast this year has gone and how much has happened between the last 12 months, right? The war, there's floods in Pakistan, there's fucking recession, Kanye, just noise after noise after noise after noise. It's hard to believe that literally just over 12 months ago, we were still being locked down here in Melbourne. Crazy. Fucking crazy, this life at the moment, isn't it? So it was May, June. I was in working for Telstra in a corporate sales job, doing really well. I was really enjoying where I was in my career. I really enjoyed working for Telstra in technology sales, not because of what anything Telstra did specifically. I just really liked helping people and doing my job. I liked creating technology solutions and doing big, complex, transformational technology deals with customers, and just building stuff. I really enjoy building things and seeing outcomes for customers. And I've been given some pretty high visibility clients from management. One of them was actually directly appointed to me via the CEO of Telstra, Andy Penn. So how that worked was I used to look after a company called Sayers. And Sayers was created by Luke Sayers. And Luke Sayers was the former CEO of PwC. Now, PwC is one of the big four consulting companies in the world. So the big four when it comes to consulting is the PwC, Deloitte, Pricewaterhouse. Oh no, that's PwC. I don't know. They're just shitty. They're shitty accounting and auditing firms. What they do is other corporations will hire them to do dumb, annoying things like corporate tax audits, their account management, professional services, strategic consulting, basically getting the best business minds and creating reports and how-tos for other organizations to build strategies around. Huge organization, PwC, worth, probably a couple of $1 billion in those organizations, because this guy, Luke, he has connections with like the Lynn Fox family, who were like one of the biggest Australian families for wealth. They own Lynn Fox Logistics. He has connections to government because the governments consult private organizations like PwC. This guy's a big fucking deal. He's got connections to Peter Dutton, Tony Abbott, all the liberals, obviously, because they're all about money and, tax loopholes in the private sector. Extremely well connected. He leaves his company. He leaves his role as CEO of PwC to start his own company in wealth advisory. And he goes to the CEO of Telstra, goes, Andy, we've got a long-standing partnership. I'm creating my own business. I want Telstra to be a partner of ours, a key partner of ours. Who can you put in front of me to help grow the business and grow the technology strategy? So that went down through the executive team to the executive director, who's the head of my business unit inside Telstra. And that filtered down to me as the face of Telstra and the corporate brand and what it can do for this guy, for Luke Sayers, who's creating this fancy new generation wealth consulting business and large government advisory business, right? It was trying to be a big fucking deal in the consulting world. So I had them as a customer. I really enjoyed the challenge in something that was new and unique. And yeah, I was thriving. I was really enjoying creating something that was different and unique. I had the ability to create a technology strategy from scratch. I was able to create a rapid growth strategy and bring in technology to help enable rapid growth in this organization that had a lot riding on it from a perception point of view. And they actually ended up being LinkedIn Australia's #1 startup of the year last year, 2021. And I like to think I had a hand in that because I helped them scale their technology. They are a technology-led wealth advisory company. So they were trying to use next generation technologies to help transform large enterprise, government, the slowest parts of business, so they could digitally transform and enhance their capabilities. And I'm the guy that created the technology strategy to help them scale their own technology initiatives and get them faster ready to market. So, it's kind of meta, but it's pretty fucking cool. I was also teaching other BDMs in my role how to do their job. I was teaching them sales coaching. I was teaching them how to be more effective salespeople as a side sort of extra credit sort of thing, whilst dealing with my portfolio of customers, whilst also dealing with this special customer that required a lot of time and attention and diligence. So I was working fucking hard. And through this time, Telstra was going through a restructure as it usually does. And through this restructure, I actually got made redundant. I went from getting customers provided to me from the CEO. In the same year, I got made redundant. They were going through this restructure, and my shithole of a manager, and I will say that again and again and again, this guy was a piece of shit. I won't personally name him, but if he ever looks at this, you're a fuckwit, mate. Come after me. But so this guy, and this is, I will talk about leadership in a different podcast. But essentially what happened was, through this restructure, there was this new phase of Telstra that was going through. And essentially there was 2 streams of work going on. You could apply for the same version of your role in the next generation, or there was these new generations of roles in leadership, as well as, it was just, sales and leadership, really. And, I've developed my own leadership capabilities. I thought, given that I was a sales leader in the business by the cool, interesting solutions that I was creating, and the fact that I was leading and coaching other people how to do their job, despite the fact that they were getting paid more than me for the same role, I could be a leader inside this business. So I applied for these next generation roles. What my shitbag of a manager did not tell me, or didn't know himself, in air quotes, is that if you do not succeed in getting these roles, these new generation roles, you get put into the redundancy pool. And nobody told me that. I thought I'd just be like, okay, I apply for these roles, and if I get them, then sweet, cool, I'm doing something new and different in the organization. If not, I just go back to my old role because I'm killing my number. I'm doing so much for this business. And I'm in a good position politically inside the business. But that is not what happened. For whatever reason, and I call it fate now, I call it destiny, the path, I applied for 2 roles. One role was called a chapter lead, and a chapter lead in agile methodologies is basically like a team leader, right? Your team leader, you have, that's all you need to know. I'm not going to go into the depths of it. There's a team leader role, or there is a strategist, a technology strategist role for advanced technologies. And since I was selling pretty advanced technologies and cloud technologies that were really popular at the time, I thought, well, fuck, I've got a case study with Sayers about implementing technologies for them to be successful. And then I didn't get either of them. And that was pretty crazy that I didn't get either of those roles despite where I was in the business. And yeah, no one even had the fucking heart to tell me in person that I got made redundant. I missed a phone call and they left me a voicemail. I remember that pretty clearly. And I was completely thrown that I was getting told I was made redundant via voicemail, via a missed call. And keep in mind, I'd been part of this business. I've been part of Telstra for about 7 or 8 years at this point. So I was pretty loyal to the brand. And this is a real, this whole debacle of this story, and I'll put that in the fort later on. I got told I got made redundant via voicemail, and my manager was completely useless in the whole part of it. I could not tell you how much of a shitbag he was. The fact that he could not, I was his best salesperson. He put me into these positions to build my credibility in the business by doing these stretch projects. And when it came to the crunch, he was not there for me. And I'll explain how he wasn't there for me later on as well. But this time inside Telstra was fucking pandemonium. There was redundancies everywhere. No one really understood they did not really explain the next generation of the business very well. So then what happened was people were like, what the fuck is going on here? And what I actually saw was Telstra was completely changing its structure as a business, and that in the long term, it was not the place to be for myself. But I was thinking about that before I got made redundant. And like I spiraled. I was like, I can't believe someone that has done as much as I have is being thrown away like this. And I remember being on the phone to my manager and being like, really? Me? Out of all the people in the team? Because I was one of the best, I was the best performer in the fucking team. As far as broad capabilities were concerned, there were people that barely knew how to do their fucking job that were earning $30,000 to $40,000 more than me, maybe even more, in the same role, who needed their fucking hand held through this business, and they survived and I did not. I was the only person in my team that got made redundant, which is fucking insane. But then again, I said I can't really help but think I was singled out for a reason, for a bigger, broader cause. And we'll get to that. So I'm spiraling. I'm in disbelief. I'm calling my girlfriend at the time. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening to me. But then literally like a few hours later that night, I've come to the realization like, holy fuck, I'm going to get a pretty serious payout because I've been at this business 7, 8 years plus my remaining sales commission. I'm going to get 6 figures here. I'm going to get over $100,000 here. And I'm fucking 30, 31 years old. If I just fucking sell and squeeze out every penny I can out of this business, I could start Aussie Comedy Network. Because I was really thinking about how I would build that in that time. I was really thinking about the next step and making that come to fruition in its own little way. And I remember just laughing maniacally on the phone, going, holy shit, if I do this right, I'm fucking loaded. I can start a business. I can take some time off. I can just, really focus on working on my dream. But, I might have been maniacally laughing and thinking this is fucking great, actually, in a way. But I was undoubtedly fucking hurt. Really hurt. And felt really abandoned by the business. And it really caused me a deep mistrust of any corporation really. It gave me a pretty hard and heavy lesson about the traditional ways of doing business, is that you are a resource. You are a cog in the machine, and you always will be. You are not special in a corporation. You are a resource, that you are a cell in the organism. And when the executive functions, the senior leadership team of any organization decide that you are not useful or functional, you will be removed. And it's never a precise removal of people. It's just a big old swathe of people that need to be gone, because usually they are hitting a number, right? They are trying to hit $1 when it comes to, reaching their KPIs of operational costs inside the business, whether that be labor, rent, just operational bullshit. So yeah, the last few weeks, I was definitely in a dark place leading into June. I had until June 30. So I had about 6-ish weeks to sell as much as I could. I told all my customers that I'm going. So and all my good ones, I'm just like, let's get everything done now so I can do it safely for you before I don't even know what the fuck is going on in there next for you guys. And I had a lot of trust in my core customers. We were mates. So they believed me when I was like, get this shit done with me and pull it forward, because things are going to go fucking haywire and you're not going to get the level of service that you are used to when I'm gone. So I was selling as much as I could and just trying to count every penny, every deal. I had to fight with HR to get my entitlements, because they got rid of hundreds of people, but they had such a shitty singular process for HR and this restructure that, like, it was just a poorly executed restructure. Really, really poorly executed. It was just like, get these cunts out. Let's give them the bare minimum of their entitlements. Let's not give them accurate numbers. It's not like they're saying let's not, but they literally were using one ancient system to calculate old payouts, because their HR system that they were using to manage employees was like 25 years old, right? So just fucking insane. And if I didn't fight for my actual rights and my entitlements for my redundancy, I would have lost $20,000 through their oversight. I had to fucking hold them to the law, and I had them calculate it 2 or 3 times, and I had it audited to make sure that I got my fucking money right. I did not trust these dogs one iota, because I knew how incompetent they were inside the business, because I operate inside it. So I knew that if these are the tools that they're using to sell a shit, imagine the tools they're using to manage their people. Even fucking worse. And I was fucking right. So let's cut to a really particularly dark part where it was my last day. It was June 30 last year. 7 or 8 years in the business. I already had closed 140% of my number on my last day. They're making me redundant. I've never missed a sales number in my sales career. I made 140% to target, despite the fact that they were making me redundant. And 8 years in that business. I go into the office because it's my last day. I go to the office, no one's there. Absolutely fucking nobody is there. Right? My manager, that shitbag, he's taken leave of absence in the last 2 weeks of the financial year, probably to deal with his own mental health bullshit, because he was under a lot of pressure. But he wasn't there. The person that's supposed to be leading me and supposed to be supporting me was not there. My boss's boss his job was under question, so he's covering his own ass at this point in time. I sit in the office and I'm basically alone. I'm alone on my last day in this organization. There was one guy on my team, Craig, good mate. He came in, we hung out for a bit, talked a bit of shit. I remember sitting there about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon on my last day, and one of my close customers who I'm trying to close $1 million deal with them, and they want to do it, but they've got issues with credit because they're a charity. And I'm breaking down on the phone to him because he knew, like, it was my first real step in my career to being a sales professional, and I enjoyed the job. And you do get attached to it. And this guy, he ended up being a mate, the customer, Adrian, good guy. He's now the former CIO of Save the Children Australia, the world's second biggest charity. I was dealing with their Oceania unit, and I sold millions of dollars with them in technology investments and sales. So we got to know each other really well. And he was nice enough to just check in on me, go, mate, I understand how you're feeling. Like, it's a tough place to be. But then we're still working every single way to get this deal over the line together. And then, it's the last day of the financial year, right? And I know it's my last day in this job. And what they did was, I'm still trying to close deals after 5 o'clock because I want every fucking cent that I can out of this business. But come I'm in the office still 6:30 trying to figure out a way to close these deals. And they cut my phone off and they cut all my systems off. And I'm like, fuck, I can't even get home because I would have to take an Uber. I had to get a taxi home so I could get home and try and keep closing this last minute deal. That's going to, $1 million in sales is not insignificant to me. It's an extra few $1,000s in commission. And I'm frantically thinking of ways to do this until like 9, 10 o'clock, until one of my team members just goes, mate, it's done. You're done. Let it be. So I did. I was just like, you know what? Yeah, you're absolutely fucking right. It's done. I don't belong to this business anymore. Just give it up. That was my last day. Alone. No support. Cut off from the system. Just really fucking alone. Really abandoned. I remember having an edible after. I was just exhausted from the day. So stressed. And just numbed out. And yeah, that put me in a pretty dark place for a while. Put me in a real dark place. Because they had this employee assistance program. It was some morbidly obese fucking whale of a being just trying to be like, have you thought about mindfulness? Like, bitch, how the fuck are you going to talk to me about good mental health when you can't even keep your shit clean? I don't take advice from very many people that live less healthily from me anymore. Let's talk about the fucking shitty cycles and shitty trauma that's damaging your life right now. For the fact that you've got fucking varicose veins in your forearms because you are that fat. Now that seems harsh, but fuck it. Fuck them all. But also, I got no word from management, no word from anyone in the business about my well-being for over 2 weeks. No one checked in. I just got sent a fucking courier bag for my laptop. And that's it. I had colleagues and friends check in with me, but no one from management, no one cared about what I had done with Sayers. I sent lengthy emails and documents about how to manage them best. Customers asked how I was, I remember, but no one from the corporation. It just chewed me up and it fucking spat me out. And that fucked me up to go, shit. You know, I've brought in to this business millions of dollars. Millions of fucking dollars. And no one has cared to check on me at all. For a while there, you know, I had to fight for my own fucking commissions to make sure that I was recognized for my deals, because all the systems had just gone into fucking meltdown because everyone wasn't sure about their jobs. I had to fight with my old manager, and I berated him about how shit of a people leader he was. He was not a people leader. And that's the problem. In business, there are not that many good leaders in business. Most middle management, a lot of leadership is filled by slightly more socially competent fuckwits from the pool that's in there. Right? But when you're talking about just like low to mid corporate, they're just fuckwits that knew how to play the game, the political game. And I told him, because once he told me that I wasn't ready for people leadership, and that cut me deep. So I threw that right back at him and told him he was not a people leader. And if anything, as the person he's supposed to lead, I have a lot more authority in saying that than he does. Because he's not even doing the job that he's purported to be for me. So during that time, you know, I took a break. I took a few months off. Yeah, I was in definitely a dark place. I had an anxiety attack a couple of weeks later. I was definitely dosing up on weed and my usage was going up. Because, yeah, and, you know, fair enough. I had been really abandoned by something that I put a lot of faith in. And abandonment is definitely one of my bigger wounds in life as well. One of my core wounds is emotional abandonment. So, yeah, it was a dark place, but the traumatization that it triggered for me is that one of self-resilience and self-independence. When I get triggered, when I get really hit at the core about when someone hurts my emotional state, I close off and I just really focus on self-sufficiency. I go, fuck them. I don't need them. I don't need any of this bullshit. I'll do it all myself. I'll fix it all. I'll show them. We'll go to war. And that's what I kind of did there for a while mentally, is go to war. You know, I was so furious at the corporation for chewing me up and spitting me out that, you know, in that downtime, I thought about, you know, in the downtime, I was like, I'm never going to work for another corporation again. I'm never going to, I want to live independently and live free and never have fuckwits like that and never get tricked again by corporations to think that they've got my best interests in heart, because they don't. So I'm still reeling. I'm like, fuck this. I'm going to start my own business. I got ACN and I'm working on the dream of ACN. And I'm just so wound up traumatically that I can just now looking back, I was in this tiz of a state where, every day was this manic rush to find security again in my life, because even though I had all this money, I didn't have an income and I didn't really understand money that well. So I was really freaked out about the idea of not having money come in, but I wanted to build these businesses and I thought I could build them quick enough to a point where I, could just make my own living and be comfortable and maintain my lifestyle, which is not an insane lifestyle. I could live off 80K per annum and I earn a lot more than that, but it's just, not going from somewhere that, I've felt comfortable having money to not, it's scary. So, I tried to take some time off. I tried to rest, but I was being pushed and pulled by this abandonment, by this trying to build something new, but then also not having the ability to rest, but was so caught up in the frustration, the anger of being abandoned that I wanted to do something about it. Like it got, it was a real roller coaster and shitstorm of an emotional state. But I had something to look forward to. I like the idea of building my own business. So I just started to rebuild myself, really. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to create my own path. I'm going to start ACN. And then I also had this epiphany of an idea called Impact Sales Academy. And essentially what I was going to do was create a secondary business where I was going to sell all of my sales experience in a course or in some sort of practice, right? Because the idea was I'd never miss a sales number in my life. I still haven't. I love teaching and mentoring people. And that's really about it, is that, I'm good at sales. I'm good with people, and I love teaching them, mentoring them, helping them grow. And that still remains true to this day. So this big epiphany came, and I started to work on that as well. I was super excited about this concept, but I realized that I knew nothing about business. So what I thought I would do is then just rebuild myself. Yeah, just start, and from the ground up, I spent thousands of dollars on multiple courses. I think about 6 or 7 different courses: entrepreneurship, social media marketing. What else did I have? There was this course on how to reframe my attitude to money, because I knew that I was really bad with money and didn't understand how it worked. I read about this, something called Thought Leaders. I've talked about Thought Leaders before. That's where I got my hierarchy of commitment structure from. So what Thought Leaders was this great organization that teaches you how to create a practice, a business practice. And what that is it's basically a business of you. It's a business of your own skill sets, built into a modality of a business that makes it very easy to manage over time. And you basically productize yourself. So I was productizing my skills and experience, my passion for mentoring, and I was going to create a sales coaching package so I could go into other sales organizations and teach them how to sell better, because I got the numbers to back it up and I've got the passion to do it as well. So I was building impact from the ground up, branding, business strategy. For months, 3 or 4 months, I was in this intense learning period, right? We're talking literally probably this time last year, right? I took a couple of months off, but didn't really. So, I would fluctuate between these days of intense studying and learning and just trying to fucking chill the fuck out and enjoy a break of all this shit that had happened to me through the pandemic and that was still going through the pandemic. I wanted to go to Cairns and take a break and take a holiday. Like, we had another wave hit. Another lockdown wave hit like 2 days before I was supposed to go. So that went out the fucking window. I was locked down again in my house, just feeling fucking trapped in like this, like a rat in a cage. with all this pain, and I was trying to fucking vacillate between trying to rebuild myself, but also just actually taking the time to rest. And yeah, and that's why I bring this up, because I'm in a similar position right now, is that I'm, sort of hamstrung by this fucking arm. But then also thinking about how I rebuild the next phase of my life post ACN and get to Austin. So I'm investing thousands of dollars in courses. I'm spending thousands of dollars in branding, in buying tools, like all of podcasting equipment, digital equipment, learning how to use this stuff. Really just reconstructing myself. But I wasn't having an income. And it was around probably about, this time last year, November, December last year, where I sort of came to a head and went, fuck, even if these businesses get started, I'm not going to make money for ages. And I'm not going to be able to make enough money for a livable income. So I got to get back to fucking work. So I started going through the process of I wanted to work, but then I didn't. And, I was still very touchy about working for another corporation because I'd just been burnt by one. So, but I had to go back and have a look. Thankfully, there was a role that was open, which is the job I'm in now, through a mate of mine called Chris. Is selling tech, similar-ish job, same industry, different products. I was like, fuck it, I got to do something. Cisco is very similar to Telstra. Fucking let's go. I can make the same money that I was previously. All right, also great. Let's do that. But there was this time, particularly around this time last year, November, December, where I had just finished my proof of concept with ACN. I remember that I had collated a bunch of clips and figured out and did a trial run of what ACN was as a content aggregator in my spare time, just to see if I got the process right. Because I didn't know how to use social media at all previous to this year, really. I just consumed social media, but I never knew how to put myself out there as a creator. I'm literally, less than 12 months into the creator journey as we speak. It could be close to an anniversary at this point. So I'm frantically working on the Impact Sales Academy. I'm frantically working on ACN. I'm freaked out because I've started 2 businesses with no business management experience. I started my own companies. I've known really nothing about finance. I'm lost in the woods. I really am lost in the fucking woods at this time. And yeah, I was like, okay, I need an on-ramp to financial security. So I'm going through this job process, and I make the decision to park Impact Sales Academy for the time being, because it's a lesson I'm still learning today, is the idea of chasing 2 rabbits. There's a saying, if a man chases 2 rabbits, he will starve. Right? You've got to focus on 1 rabbit, chase that down, and succeed at that. And I made this choice because ACN was a creative dream of creative freedom. And the mission and the values of ACN seemed more appealing to the greater benefit of people than Impact did. And, it might be slower to build that because I didn't really have a way to make guaranteed money through ACN, and I still don't before I let go of it. But it felt like the highest vision and the highest dream I had at the time. So I followed that. I had to let go of Impact Sales because I thought, you know what? I'm going to ditch sales as a career path. I want to become a creator. I want to start this business. But then I went, oh, shit. The reality is I can't just fucking throw myself into another pile of money. It's not just going to magically appear. This is a long-term game. And that's something that I've learned the hard way over the last 12 months as well. But even then, within 6 months of being made redundant, I started 2 businesses. And that's pretty crazy. I had a proof of concept ready for both of them within 6 months. So by December last year, I was just like, okay, ease up, let go of Impact, focus on ACN. You know what the plan is. Go back to work, find a way to balance this out. So in the like Jan, Feb, took it a bit easier. I was still building the concept of ACN. I got Gavin involved. Gavin was the guy that helped me create all the content and the backlog. And, you know, I was building this massive backlog of content to put out around about 250 clips, which is pretty crazy. And in this process of launching it in March and doing it properly, because I needed time to build the brand, build the website, build the platforms, get them all lined up. Like I put a lot of pretty fucking hard work into it. Lo and behold, I get the job at Cisco, which is great. But then I very stupidly am chasing two rabbits again. I'm starting a new job in a new company, different type of role, similar industry, but a completely different way of doing things. And I launch ACN in the same fucking week. So I'm learning how to do this job. Thank fuck it's mostly remote. I'm just doing a whole bunch of e-learns and online learning things. And I'm launching 4 pieces of content per day, making a fucking big noise about ACN and, you know, just really pushing hard to get this shit out there. Let's also keep in mind that I am running not one, but 2 monthly comedy rooms at this point. Comedy at Jambo and Pride, the rooms that I've got now. So, like, fuck, it's going pretty heavy here, right? Oh, and then also, this has come back to March. Let's go back to December. I break up with my girlfriend. We'd only been dating a few months, but I could not handle new relationship challenges, and you know, it was kind of rocky to begin with, whilst also having emotional, like just too much emotional instability was happening at once, because my ability to provide, not just for myself, or mostly for myself, but just to provide in general as a man, when you take that away from them, it really fucks with their identity. It really fucks with men and who they think they are when you take away their ability to provide and not have that on the table. Even if you have the dreams of, you know, doing something new and different, you still have the problem of the now. So that core part of my identity is in troubled waters. Not to mention, you know, I was a bit hesitant about committing to a committed relationship less than 2 years after I just got out of a 10-year relationship. I sort of rolled the dice on a little bit. Turns out I just was not ready for this level of instability. And yeah, I had to let it go, which was tough. So like in the space of like 6 months, lost my girlfriend, lost my job, in the woods, fucking working through anxiety, working through abandonment, trying to run comedy shows, trying to figure out a way forward in my future careers. Heavy stuff. Yeah, let's cut back to March this year. March, April, May, June, that's from March till August. Things are going well with ACN. It's growing, not the way that I thought it was, but it's growing. Early on, you know, I had a couple of big wins, had clips that got over 500,000 views. I got one clip on Instagram that got over 2 million views, thousands of likes, 15,000 followers. Things are happening, right? But then I'm also at this new job trying to figure out their way of doing things, trying to run 2 comedy rooms while still posting 3 to 4 times a day, while still trying to figure out how to do this new job, and learn a lot of new stuff. It was it was trial by fucking fire the last 6 to 8 months, and even now, really, I think, like I said, the last 18 months, absolute trial by fire. And like I've talked about before, I was working 80-hour plus weeks. I was, you know, so determined to make this happen, determined by the vision, determined that I had to leverage the money I was making in my day job to fuel my night passion. You know, running shows, making sure they kept selling out, making sure they were making those numbers, making my own sales number in this new organization that I didn't know much about, trying to grow the engagement numbers on, you know, all the social media platforms for ACN. running around editing my own podcast, editing this podcast, editing content that I needed to make my numbers for the targets I had set myself for content production in ACN and getting clips out per week. I cut my family out. I cut my friends out for a bit. I was pretty wholly and solely focused. And it got to a point where I just realized that I came to these realizations through ACN that, it's not really working out the way it should be. And had to keep slowing down and waning back the content that I was putting out because I was increasingly dissatisfied with what I was putting out. Keep my head above water in my new job. With Sam and I were thinking about running a third gig, a professional gig with 80 to 100 seats in the midst of all of this, whilst we still have to make a content and strategy engagement plan for the existing gigs that we've got so they keep selling out. Like, I just kept going and loading myself up. And yeah, if you've been a long time listener, which is not very long, but feels like a while now, that we're in fucking November and I started this podcast in January, where's the time fucking gone? I hit a wall. Around end of July, August. And yeah, just my body could not carry me anymore. And my mind was fading as a result. I don't know if I call it chronic fatigue, but there was adrenal fatigue, right? I was drinking 2 coffees a day. I was smoking pretty much every night for the fact that I was over caffeinated and so driven towards what I was doing, working during the day, comedy at night, ACN, still maintaining a daily fitness routine through all of this. My body was just breaking down, and then I was consistently in monkey mind. I was consistently in survival mode because I was pedaling through the shit of what ACN was falling apart to be. I did not feel like I was competent in my day job, even though I was somehow making sales that weren't mine. They just sort of fell in, and I was very grateful for that. The added pressure of adding a third show into the repertoire per month that has a lot of risk associated and a lot of costs associated with it. Also, there's all that risk involved as well. So I had to just slow down. I just had to take a break and go, fuck, this isn't working. And that's what I did. I took all of August off. Went to Austin. Had that synchronous moment. And now we're here, really. I've got this elbow that's healing. I've got a new idea, for a business, the next venture, which will, I think, get me to Austin. But it's pretty fucking crazy, I think, what I've done in the last 18 months, what I've been through, what I've done. I've failed a fucking lot. I've lost a lot of stuff. Things have come and gone. I have none of that money that I got from that redundancy. It's virtually all gone. Some of it's invested, don't get me wrong, but it's not like I have that cash lying around at all. It's pretty fucking crazy when I look back at the last 18 months. And what's even crazier is the 12 months before that was all pandemic and physical and mental transformation. Like, I really have not slowed down or had any sense of my old self in the last 3 years. And what's funny, even funnier about this, the cycles that I keep thinking about, the cycles of life, right? This time last year, being in an absolute tiz. 3 years ago, this week is when I broke up with my ex and started on this journey of deep self-transformation, self-analysis, the whole gamut of what this show has been about so far. So to be here at ground zero in some ways again, the second, now technically the third-ish time, or second time, third-ish time, yeah. In a particular dimension of life, I can't help but see the cycles of life. They come. Time is a flat circle. It is definitely cyclical. But, I don't really consider being at ground zero or being in these positions as a bad thing at all. Because I've acquired so much learning in the last 18 months. I've learned so much. I've completely changed my attitudes to money, to business, to life. I've failed fantastically in some ways. I thought for someone that had failed, in air quotes, a business, I'd feel a lot worse about it, but I really don't. I've said this before, I'm pretty happy with what I've learned through this process of just, it's all learnings, right? One of my mantras is you have no reason to fail. Everything is an opportunity to learn. It's only a real failure or a real fuck up if you make the same mistake twice. But, the next chapter, this week, I've gained some pretty great clarity on, forcing myself into this forcibly slow period in my life where I am physically slowed down, physically held back. I've got to still twist the knife into myself a little bit to say, hey, it's fucking okay to be a little looser for the next few weeks while you focus on letting your arm heal. Haven't you fucking done enough by looking back at all this shit? Haven't you done a fucking enough? Not really determine whether I've won or I've lost. I think I've won a lot. I'm still a net positive individual about this entire experience. I'm grateful for it. It just arms me about what not to do next time. And the big lessons are around patience, are around, again, self-reliance. It's a good place to be. And I feel grateful, and I definitely feel like it's odd in a good way that I feel like this. And I think it's a mark of the work that I have done on myself to get to this point. And I wanted to talk about it because, maybe there are points in your life where you feel the same, where maybe you feel like you've done all this work on whatever it is, you've failed big somewhere, or, you feel like you're just keeping your head above water. But maybe you just need that moment in your life, or a moment in your life, to fucking sit back and take a second and go, shit. I've climbed this mountain a lot higher than I thought. There's still a way to go. But if you spent so much time in survival mode and suffering and scrambling to where you've gotten, your perspective shrinks. Your perspective always shrinks. When you aim to keep a sharp hold on yourself, that's what your ego does when it feels threatened. It shrinks your point of view, protects you. And no amount of mindfulness and ego death and mushrooms will ever kill that off in your own mind. You get better at resisting it. But, like I said, it got the better of me 2-3 weeks ago with my fucking injury. I was like, oh, life is shit. This is going to suck. But now I'm on the other side of the surgery and I'm feeling fucking great. I'm feeling like there's a new lease here. There's a new lesson in this. It's triggered a new cycle in myself. It's day zero again for something new. Even funnier is that this week it was 11th of November. And if you've seen the clip that I put up on Instagram, I've got to put it on TikTok as well, about the synchronicities in my life, about how many fucking synchronous magic number moments I've had over the last 3 or 4 months. It's been fucking insane. It was like 185 magic numbers in 120 days. The magic numbers is when you see 444 or 111 or 222 on a clock, on your phone, wherever it is. I saw it, over 180 times in the last 3 or 4 months. That's over one a day. So I can't help but think, this journey has been tumultuous, but it is a learning experience. Couple that with the idea that I have, taken these crumbs from the universe about who I am and where I'm meant to be. I can't help but feel excited for what's coming next. I'm going to go into the details of what my next harebrained scheme is. There's some clues actually in this pod as well. So if you do figure it out, let me know. Maybe you can be a part of it too. But you got to take some time. And now, as we head into summer, into the dead time of December and Jan, as we love to do here in Australia, and it's a silly season for everyone. Pretty much December, January. Take some fucking time. Take some time to really slow down and take stock. Take stock of where you are. Because it wasn't until I was forced to look back, I go, oh shit, I've done some pretty crazy stuff here. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I think that's it, guys. I think that's going to be the pod for this week. It's a bit of a doozy. I definitely felt a lot of pain processed through that fucking redundancy piece. That definitely got me. But it's been a pleasure to get this out. I almost thought about canceling the pod and just stopping it so I can focus on the next project, but I do want to keep it on here because now I look back about how much growth I've even had in this podcast, doing 35 episodes. It's hard to let go of, right? You definitely get discouraged from time to time when you look at numbers and are they growing enough and that sort of thing. But having this platform of self-expression, having some fantastic listeners out there that appreciate what I'm putting out, it's wonderful. And again, as always, thank you very much, bingers, for your time and attention. We will be back next week. I'm constantly experimenting with the podcast. I think I'm going to do a book review next week about some of the sources of information in my life that have helped me grow as an individual, particularly over this last 12 to 18 months, and share those tools with you. Maybe you'll get something out of it. Take what's useful, reject what's not. Anything to plug? Hey, if you haven't already, I would love for you guys to subscribe on YouTube. I'm trying to build my subscriber base there. If you could give the podcast a review, the higher the better. I won't say 5 stars, but you know what I'm talking about. On iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're listening to this right now. And as always, thank you for your time and attention, bingers. I've been Jameel Raymond. I will see you next week. Ciao for now.